What if the secret to a perfect human society isn't found in, grand philosophies or some futuristic vision? What if it's in something as tiny, maybe as overlooked as an ant colony? Could these little architects actually hold the keys for us for a more unified, resilient future?
It's a really captivating idea, isn't it? And our source material today, it dives right into that. It suggests these, well, seemingly simple creatures, these miniature masters of organization. They aren't just, interesting to study. They're presented as living, breathing blueprints for just unparalleled cooperation, offering some really profound lessons, actually, about communities, sharing resources, building a better world. The answers might literally be under our feet.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this then. Today, our mission is to journey into that hidden world, the one right beneath our shoes, and discover maybe some startling truths about unity, about collective intelligence that could fundamentally transform how we think about our own communities. So join us. Let's explore how watching these tiny creatures might just shift our whole perspective on our place in the world. In our society, we're always celebrating the individual, right? The lone genius, the hero, the self-made success. It's really baked into our culture. But what if that focus, it's powerful, sure, but what if it blinds us to something even more potent? Our source material challenge is exactly that. It says, forget everything you thought you knew about individual achievement. It argues the real blueprint for success. It lies in collective action. And it's demonstrated by these tiny creatures in ways we're maybe only just starting to really get.
It is a radical shift in perspective, definitely. And the core concept, the thing that helps us understand this, is the ant colony as a superorganism. No, it's not just like a fancy word. It's a scientific term. It reflects their extraordinary ability to function as one cohesive unit, almost like a single being, even though it's made up of thousands, maybe millions of individual ants. These aren't just bug collections. They're complex, adaptive systems, honestly rivaling our own cities in complexity and organization. Think about it. Individual ants, they're kind of like cells in a body. They share resources, defend the borders, and collectively make sure the whole colony survives and reproduces.
And the scale, when you start to really picture it,
Yeah.
it's just mind-boggling. We're talking tunnels spiraling way down, chambers built for specific jobs, like climate-controlled nurseries for the young, fungus farms, intricate granaries for storing food long-term. You see those high-definition macro photos. It's not just a busy micro-world. It reveals this perfectly synchronized metropolis, operating silently right under us. It's a testament to incredible planning and work.
And here's the real puzzle, the intellectual challenge. Their efficiency without central command. How does an organization of millions operate so precisely, adapt so fast, without, a CEO ant or a project manager giving orders? The answer, as the source explains, it's in their deep evolutionary adaptations and these incredibly sophisticated decentralized communication systems. See, each ant isn't waiting for instructions. It's constantly sensing its local environment, following pheromone trails, detecting tiny vibrations, reading subtle touches from its sister's antenna. It's a system where simple local rules, when followed by millions, lead to incredibly complex, intelligent behavior across the whole system. They don't need a master plan because collectively they create and adapt the plan as they go.
That idea is fascinating, local rules creating global intelligence. So how do they actually manage this success without that central command? Let's talk about their division of labor. We hear about the ant caste system, right? Which sounds pretty rigid. Are they really locked into one role from birth, or is there, more flexibility?
That's a great point, because while, yes, the biological castes, queens, soldiers, workers, those are distinct and fixed, our source material shows a much more dynamic picture within that worker caste. And that's where most of the colony's day-to-day stuff happens. Individuals there aren't just stuck. They shift roles dynamically, from nursing the young to foraging, defending the nest, even digging new tunnels. It all depends on the colony's immediate needs and who's available. So this division of labor, it's not just about specialization, it's about flexible, responsive adaptation. It's crucial for the colony's survival and efficiency.
Okay, so not rigid, but fluid, adaptive. Can you give us a solid example like this division of labor in action that really shows how that flexibility works?
Absolutely. Okay, so imagine a foraging situation. A scout ant finds a great new food source, rich stuff. She doesn't just grab a piece and run back. She lays down a pheromone trail, like a chemical breadcrumb path, on her way back to the nest. Now, the concentration, the specific blend of these chemicals, it's not just, hey, food. It conveys complex info. This food is this good, it's over here, and we need it now. It's really quite detailed. This kicks off a rapid, coordinated response. Other ants pick up this chemical signal, they follow it. And here's the key. They reinforce the trail. If they also find the food valuable, it becomes this self-organizing feedback loop. It leads to this exponential collective effort to grab those resources fast, this rapid decentralized info sharing and dynamic role shifting. That's a huge factor in their success and their resilience.
It's incredible. A real-time chemical network. And that connects right to their built-in resilience, doesn't it? When a crisis hits, maybe a drought, a tunnel collapses, a predator attacks, societies don't just, take the hit. They fluidly reconfigure.
Yeah.
That dynamic role shifting you mentioned, it goes into overdrive. Nurses might suddenly become defenders. Foragers might switch to repair duty.
Exactly.
They optimize resources. They shore up defenses. They collectively adapt with a speed and efficiency that, let's be honest, human organizations often struggle with. It's not just bouncing back. It's like fluidly reconfiguring for survival. That's a powerful lesson for us, facing our own unpredictable challenges. Okay, so we've got astounding organization resilience. But let's face it, for many people, the image of an ant is still basically a mindless automaton, pure instinct. Are we missing something fundamental about their intelligence? Our source definitely suggests we are. It emphasizes they have advanced communication and decision-making abilities that allow them to thrive in complex environments.
Oh, absolutely, we are missing something. What's truly remarkable about their communication mastery is just the sheer volume and complexity of information they swap without a single spoken word. It's not just food trails, it's a whole symphony of chemical signals. For alarm, for marking territory, for identifying nest mates, even for regulating the nest's temperature and humidity. And then you add in the subtle antenna taps, the body postures, trophallaxis, that mouth-to-mouth food sharing that also passes hormones and info cues. They're basically transmitting real-time data across the whole colony, creating this shared, constantly updated map of their world. It's a distributed network of information processing. It's breathtakingly efficient, far more sophisticated than just instinct.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. All this communication feeds into their decision-making without a leader. This idea of a swarm intelligence, how without any central boss, the colony collectively finds optimal solutions to really complex problems. Think about us trying to find a new office space, right? Experts might debate for days, ants. Through something like collective voting, they'll check out dozens of potential nest sites at once. Individuals check out options based on local cues, darkness, space, etc. And then, through these positive feedback loops, more ants liking a site means more pheromones, which attracts even more ants. The colony just converges on the best choice. It's this bottom-up wisdom that often beats top-down orders.
And it's not just about solving immediate problems either. It stretches into genuine foresight and planning. Ant colonies meticulously store food for the lean times. They strategically expand their tunnels to handle growth. They even adjust foraging patterns before seasonal changes hit. Now, this isn't individual ants being psychic, right? It's an emergent collective mind that processes environmental data over time, learns, and actually prepares for future challenges. If we connect this to the bigger picture, well, it seriously challenges our assumption that thinking ahead needs a single conscious brain. It shows that proactive strategic planning can be a property of the collective itself.
Sure.
That could inspire human societies to move beyond just reacting to crises and towards, truly anticipatory, resilient systems.
Okay, so we've peeled back the layers on this incredible micro world, complex behavior, surprising intelligence. The question now is, how do we translate these profound, tiny truths? From the ant mound to our, sprawling human cities and communities, what does this really mean for us, beyond just being a cool observation?
Well, it really forces us to confront our individualistic bias.
Yeah.
In many human societies, especially in the West, we're taught to champion the lone innovator, the self-made person, often at the expense of community ties, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
And colonies fundamentally challenge this. They show us that huge, sustainable achievements aren't just possible through collective action, they're optimized by it. Imagine an organization where, ego is secondary to the shared goal, where individual success is always seen in the context of the group's well-being. This isn't about erasing individuality, it's about reframing it. Recognizing that real individual thriving can be amplified when it's deeply embedded within a supportive, unified group, just like a single ant's survival, is pretty meaningless outside its colony.
That's a powerful reframe. Not every ant for itself, but every ant for the colony. And it gets incredibly practical when you think about infrastructure and logistics. Think about our city's constant problems, traffic jams, waste management, getting resources where they need to go efficiently. Ant colonies with no CAD software, no planning committees. They design transport networks that minimize bottlenecks.
Mm-hmm.
They
Self-optimism.
manage their waste meticulously to prevent disease. They optimize resource flow with amazing precision. It's almost like self-healing infrastructure. For urban planners, this isn't just a metaphor. It could be a blueprint for designing adaptive, resilient systems that respond organically to change, moving away from static designs towards dynamic, self-optimizing cities.
The lessons go right down to the ground level. And then there's the power of purpose. In an ant colony, every single action, no matter how small, directly helps the colony survive and flourish. There's no existential crisis about what's my job or does this even matter.
Right.
Our source points out that when every member of a human community understands their role in a clear, shared goal and really feels that contribution, the results can be transformative. It fosters this deep sense of belonging, of meaning. It inspires people to move beyond just self-interest and work tirelessly for a collective vision, kind of like the ant working for the colony. It's about aligning individual effort with a collective heart.
So how do we actually start building our own human superorganism? How do we use these ant principles to create a more unified, resilient society? What are some concrete steps we could take?
Well, one crucial area is definitely bridging divides. In our often polarized societies, the ant model suggests we shift focus. Instead of dwelling on differences, we actively cultivate, you could say, pheromones of shared purpose.
No.
This means finding those big, tangible goals that really benefit everyone: community safety, local environment projects, public health,
Common ground.
Exactly. And then creating structures for decentralized, collaborative effort towards those goals. It's about fostering dialogue, not to argue ideologies, but to collectively solve problems. Like ants working together on a food source, they're not debating why it's there, just figuring out how to get it back to the nest.
And this directly impacts rethinking leadership, doesn't it? The ant colony's decentralized setup, it's not anarchy, it's distributed leadership. It encourages us to shift from that top-down command and control model to creating enabling environments.
Yes.
So leaders aren't just giving orders. They're cultivating the conditions where collective intelligence can actually emerge and flourish, where individuals feel empowered to act on local information. It's about trusting the swarm, in a way, to find the best path, which could lead to way more innovative, agile, and resilient solutions than any single boss could dream up.
Ultimately, this points towards the future of collaboration as a core survival strategy for us. As humanity faces these increasingly complex global challenges, climate change, pandemics, economic instability, the isolated individualistic approach, it just isn't enough anymore. Applying these ant calling principles means deliberately designing systems in our workplaces, our communities, our global efforts that prioritize emergent collaboration, fluid adaptability, and this unshakable shared sense of purpose. It's about building human systems that, like the ant colony, are truly greater than the sum of their parts, capable of solving problems we might not even fully see coming yet.
Wow, what an incredible journey. From our sidewalks to potentially the foundations of a whole new societal blueprint. We've seen how this tiny, tireless world right under our feet holds these profound lessons, not just about cooperation, but community, resilience, the sheer power of collective action. By really looking at these miniature masters of organization, we get insights into a unique model for achieving harmony, for sustainable thriving in our own complex lives.
And this raises an important question, I think. If these tiny creatures, without what we call conscious thought, right? If they can consistently build societies that are so efficient, so resilient, so complexly collaborative, what does that truly reveal about the untapped potential within our own human groups? What small, maybe leaderless act of community building could you start this week, inspired by this tireless world of ants?
That's a powerful challenge and wonderfully unexpected. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden wisdom of the ant colony. Next time you see an ant, maybe just pause for a second. What might that tiny creature be whispering to you about building a better world? And how could that inspire your own efforts? We encourage you, keep observing, keep questioning, keep finding that unexpected inspiration all around you.